The Crusaders men have always been fun to watch in the NBL1 East era, but can they convert that into a final spot in the 2026 season? After commentating the Crusaders in round 1, here's what I took away from their performances. In this video, we'll have a look at the Crusaders' playstyle, their huge new signing, as well as some of the players who may be flying under the radar that you should keep an eye on for the Central Coast this year. So let's take a trip to Terrigal. Welcome to Waratah on VCR. Now, this video is going to be a little shorter than usual. I don't know, I was going to make this into an Instagram post, but I just had too much to write about with the Central Coast Crusaders. There's just so many players that I wanted to cover. So this might be a little shorter than usual, but hey, let's have a bit of fun. And also, before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to Waratah on VCR so you don't miss any videos and to just show a bit of support. I put a lot of time and effort into these videos, so any support goes a long way. All right, enough of that. Time to get into the vid. We're going to start off with a huge signing, the difference maker. It is Matur Maker. He is a Crusader bringing G-League, NBA Summer League, and NBL experience to the Central Coast. I mean, what a signing. I don't know how Miko keeps doing it, but hey, who wouldn't want to play for the man himself? And what a skill set he's going to bring to the Central Coast Crusaders side. Not just because his talent or his resume, but I think playstyle-wise, he's going to be a really good fit for this team. After seeing them in their first 2 games, I think they just needed a little more size on the team, as well as a bit extra scoring punch, which Maker is going to bring immediately. Last time we saw him in NBL 1, he averaged 20 points per game to go along with 12 rebounds with the Rockhampton Rockets, I think they are, or the Cyclones, in NBL 1 North, and he was just scoring from all over the court. 3-point land, going downhill, post-ups, he just really has it all in his bag. Maker is ready to set the league on fire and will be definitely pushing for a star 5 spot. So just rewinding a bit to look at his resume, in 2019 he did a pre-draft workout with the Washington Wizards before signing with Rio Grande in the NBA G-League. In that G-League season, he appeared in 30 games, which is just so impressive and such good experience at an elite level. In 2021, he was part of the NBA Summer League with the Denver Nuggets before joining the Sydney Kings. He claimed an NBL ring with the Sydney Kings in 2022 as part of that title team. Since then, he's played professionally around the world, including New Zealand, a bit in the Middle East, a bit in Europe, and a bit in Africa as well. So a lot of travel miles for Matur Maker, but he also was playing in NBL1 North, as I previously mentioned, where he was just tearing it up there. What an amazing pickup for a team that is on the rise. I really can't wait to see what he can do. And as just another elite level player who's chosen to take his talents to the NBL1 East. So welcome, Matur Maker. So going from a potential star to a star who is already with the Central Coast Crusaders, let's talk a bit about Garric Young. The former Waratah MVP is already dominating in his 2nd season with the Central Coast Crusaders. In Game 1, he had 21 points off an impressive 58% shooting to go along with 11 rebounds, 2 blocks. And then he backed that up on the Sunday against the Bears with 19 points off an even better 61% shooting to go along with 9 rebounds. Garric Young is looking sharper than ever, and with a bit more help in the front court coming with Matur Maker to go along with players like Aaron Redhead and Seth Chapman, I think he'll be able to play with a lot more freedom this season. Last season, I think we saw glimpses of excellence when he was playing alongside Lino Manom. That 1-2 punch was really starting to work, but of course Lino no longer with the side. But I think when Garric actually gets a chance to roam a little more and be a little more versatile on the 3-point line, getting inside and outside the paint, I think that's when he's at his best. From commentating in that game against the Spiders, I really would love to see the Crusaders run a bit more pick and roll or pick and pop action with ball handlers like Cassidy, Bailey, and Sharif Sapire as well. I think this would really open the floor up for the rest of the team, especially the wings and the guards. I mean, you know, Cassidy, Bailey, and Sharif love to get downhill and attack the ring. And you've got players like Gunderson, Akamamoy, Jamal Schwab as well, who can really space the floor. I think this would create a lot of headaches for the defense, as well as the prospect of just having Garric Young going downhill at the basket. Playing off a Garric Young pick and roll situation could really open things up for the Central Coast Crusaders. But either way, giving it to him in the low post for those kind of triple threat situations, those isolation situations down deep in the paint, for those little pops that he does, or the turnarounds, or even just going hard at the ring. That's also super effective. But I think with a pick and roll to go with a bit of low post action could really unlock Garric Young's offensive potential. Not to say he's not scoring heaps anyway, but I think that could get him up to 25 to 30 points a game. Not to mention that, I think Garric's also in for a Defensive Player of the Year season as well. I think last season he was a bit unlucky to miss out. But we all know Garric Young throws a great block party, so make sure bring in red cups and turn up. This is great to have Garric Young back in NBL1 East for another season. Going to have their work cut out at NBL1 East HQ trying to chop up his highlights because he can really throw it down and he's just so much fun to watch. So moving back to a player I was just mentioning a little earlier, Captain Luke Cassidy, or Captain Cassidy, who really seems to be back in his element this season. Now, I know I said this a lot, especially on commentary and throughout the broadcast and preview videos as well. 2 seasons ago, I think it was a little too crowded in the backcourt, in the guards position, which kind of cramped Luke Cassidy's style. Last season, there was a lot of ball-dominant kind of players like Clarence Amir and Elijah Washington on their side. But I think the way that the Cruise roster is set up this season really favours Luke Cassidy's style of play. And I think he's definitely the player you've got to be building around if you're the Central Coast Crusaders. Now, Cassidy has full ball handling responsibilities and is already putting up some big numbers across his first 2 games of the season. He's already got 20 assists. And Cassidy was just conducting the orchestra as well as scoring. He dropped 19 points in that Spiders game. Scoring-wise, he has the ability to control the pace of the game, whether that is through his passing or through getting that dribble penetration. It really shifts the defense around and sets things up for his teammates. But if he's not playmaking, he can also get to the basket and finish or draw fouls, which is very handy to have, especially if there's nothing doing on offense, just to be able to get into the paint and draw a foul or put a bit of pressure on the defense and maybe dish it off to Young or dish it off to Matur Maker now. Either way, Cassidy is a peak performance point guard, and I'm really glad to see him have the keys to the offense again. Whether it's scoring, whether it's distributing, you got to love having Luke Cassidy on your side, and I can't wait to see what he does this season. I think Miko is really going to get the best out of him. From the guards to the wings, let's talk about the wingmen, and I was really impressed, not just this season, but in previous seasons as well, by the young wings the Crusaders have, Jamal Schwab and Hayden Gunderson. Now, I did mention them a little earlier that they are both really good shooters, and I think every year they're increasing their percentages. But both players stand out for their defensive energy and their defensive effort. Jamal is an elite on-ball defender and a team-first kind of player who really just does whatever the team needs to promote success and kind of get the win. You know, you always need those glue guys on your side. Also, from three-point land, his shot is looking sharper this season. I'm sure he put in plenty of work in the off-season as well as playing for Newcastle in the UBL. So if Jamal can space the floor and kind of hold down those corner spots or those high post extended spots, that'll really space things out for the Central Coast Crusaders, and I'm sure he'll get a lot of open shots. Jamal really works his ass off on both ends of the court, so he's just definitely a player that every team would love to have. His former Youth League teammate Hayden Gunderson showed glimpses of greatness as well, especially in that game against the Spiders, slashing to the bucket, spacing the floor and providing frenetic energy on defense. Hayden Gunderson looked really impressive and looks like he's put on a bit of muscle this season as well, which I'm sure is really going to help him hold his ground defensively to go along with his pre-existing agility and his skills and ability to stay in front of defenders. I think that strength's really going to help him to hold his own, especially if he has to switch out onto bigs. So these 2 players, Jamal and Hayden, big shout out to them. I think they're going to be crucial to the Crew's success this season. So coming soon to a console near you, it is Redhead Redemption. Aaron Redhead is back on the coast and is a perfect fit for their squad, I think. Big Red hasn't played yet, but will likely play soon, very soon. He's just got a little injury that needs clearing up. Last time we saw Aaron rep the Crusaders, he averaged 13 points per game to go along with 8 rebounds, with the ability to score from inside and outside. Don't let his versatility fool you, though. He can bang in the paint with the best of them. Like, he's a very physical player defensively and offensively when he needs to be. I think Central Coast have been a bit desperate for bigs. They've lacked a bit of depth in that position over the last 2 seasons since Aaron Redhead left for the Spiders. But now that he returns, I think it's a right time, right place kind of situation. And I think he's going to be ready to contribute as soon as he steps onto the court. Not only that, I think the best thing about Aaron Redhead's game is he just provides that versatility. As I said, he can space the floor with his 3-point shooting. He can score in the post. And defensively as well, he really holds down the paint. So I think that's going to work really well alongside Garric Young and Matur Maker. It's going to give them a lot of different looks. So we can't wait to play Redhead Redemption I'd give that pun maybe a 6 out of 10, so just a passing mark. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. To go alongside Aaron Redhead, Seth Chapman really impressed me. Now, he came out to play in that Spiders game. He had 15 points and 14 rebounds to make a huge statement, like a big statement of intent for the season that he's really come to play. He's another one of those young players that looks like he's put on a lot of muscle in the off-season and is looking hyper athletic. Of course, this is Seth Chapman's 4th season in NBL1 East, and he is the complete package, I think, as a big. Athletic, a strong frame, a really refined skill set, including, those little soft touches around the ring, but he can also throw it down with thunder. Plus, defensively, he really holds his ground well in the paint. Much like Redhead, I think he does have that versatility. Definitely a different skill set to Aaron Redhead, but I think he can play the 4 and the 5, so he'll be able to fit into Miko's rotation really well, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Seth Chapman playing big minutes this season. He's just one of many Central Coast talents who has graduated from their youth league system, kind of part of that golden generation with Wooler, Schwab, Alex Bailey, who we'll get to in a minute. But I'm really glad to see the Central Coast really starting to put time and effort and put a lot of trust into their youth league players. And I think it's going to pay off, especially on the NBL1 East level. From a Central Coast junior to a new signing, it's time to unleash Sharif. We all know what Sharif Sapaya can do. There's no player quite like him in the NBL1. His combination of size, skill, swagger, shooting, silky handles, it's simply sensational. And that's some great alliteration as well, but with Sharif Sapaya, it's all about the alliteration, come on. Honestly, he's just so much fun to watch and looks like he's having a great time out there as well. But on a serious note, he might be the missing ingredient for the Crusaders. Be it starting on a 6th man role, Sharif has already shown that he can be an instant offensive spark plug, not just this season, but for the Crusaders as well. In his first 2 games, he had 11 points and then 17 points against the North Bears in Game 2. You could see in those highlights against the North Bears, sorry I didn't get a chance to watch the full game, but it was in those kind of crucial moments where it looked like the Bears were starting to edge ahead, but Sharif almost single-handedly kept them in that game in the 3rd quarter. I think that's just a sign of what's to come from Sharif as part of this Central Coast Crusaders side. If the offense is kind of stagnating, I think you can just chuck him out there and he can either score himself or just get that defense moving around with his dribble penetration or using that size to just disrupt defenders a little bit and look for those kickouts or look for cutters as well. Sharif's a great pickup for the Central Coast Crusaders, and hopefully he can help them cause some damage and put on a finals run. From one of the newest Crusaders, now going back to a Crusader with a wealth of experience, it's Tom Akamamo. It's really not Crusaders basketball without Tom Akamamo. In fact, he made his Waratah debut with the club way back in 2015. Not only is he the heart and soul of this squad, it looks like he might be in a more elevated role this season too, starting in both games. Honestly, Akamamo might be one of the best wing defenders in the league. No, seriously, I don't mean that as an understatement. He is elite and locked in. For any juniors out there, they really should study his game. He's got that textbook defensive stance and great slides to go along with it. Not only that, he has the speed, strength, and agility to keep up with any offensive player. In the opening game of the season, he had 3 steals and a block just to show his defensive credentials. He also brings it on the offensive end as well. He's already got 6 threes this season, so 3 threes in each game. That's some quick maths. Showing that he is a perfect 3-and-D kind of player. So what more could the Crusaders ask for? On a team with a lot of ball-dominant players, dominant bigs, crafty guards, it's just great to have Tom Akamamo out there who's going to do the work on both ends and do everything it takes to contribute to winning. The last player to talk about is Alex Bailey. Now, we didn't get to see Alex Bailey in the first 2 games of the season. I think maybe a small injury concern at the moment. But when he gets back on the court, keep an eye on Alex Bailey. He had a stellar youth league career with the Crusaders, making Star 5 teams in 2023 and 2024. And more recently, he is coming off a great UBL season with Newcastle University, where he averaged 17 points per game and 6 rebounds per game. Crafty handles, sharp shooting, creative passing, and a deep layup bag. Bailey's defensive game is super powerful. I also think between him, Cassidy, and Sharif, The Crew have top-notch guard rotation that provides a lot of different options in that position. They definitely keep an eye on Alex Bailey this season. I can't wait to see what Miko has in store for him for his role in the team, but I reckon he's going to be a big part of this team as well. So there you have it, the Central Coast Crusaders. There's so many options for this side, and I think this year compared to the last, all the talent seems to complement each other pretty well. I think in previous years, they've maybe just gone and signed best player available, but maybe not got a player who's going to fit into their system well. But now with a lot of those Central Coast youth players coming through and now being established NBL1 players, to go along with players like Cassidy and Akamamoy, the veterans who have been around the club for a long time, that's going to provide a great foundation for the new talent they've brought in with players like Matur Maker and Sharif Sapaya. Not only that, I still think Garric Young can go to yet another level. Like, I know he's already playing at such an elite level at the moment, but I reckon there's still just a little more we can get out of Garric Young. And I mean, he could even be knocking on the door of some MVP votes as well. Got big raps on Garric Young. So let me know what you think about the Crusaders in the comments below. Can they break their finals drought, or will it be maybe another disappointing season? They definitely have the tools to make something work here. And either way, they're going to be a lot of fun to watch this season. But that's all we have time for. My name's James, and thank you for joining me on Waratah on VCR.